Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Time for another Metal Earth build, another vehicle if you will. This time we're going out to the country, out to the farm for the farm tractor. Nice big detailed wheels on the back of this guy. It looks like it might be a little bit complex, but it looks like it'll be fun. A nice shiny chrome tractor. Let's tear this open and see what's inside. This is a farm tractor. This is, what is this? I don't know what I was going to say. Inside we have two metal sheets. Set those aside. And here are the directions, instructions, assembly, flowchart. It's one piece of paper, both sides. Take it half at a time. You've got the Metal Earth 3D laser cut model, 360 view, and the web address to it if you wanted to look at it online. Little line drawing of the model in sheets. Some information here about insertion tabs, fold lines, insertion holes. Needle nose pliers are helpful. We have the legend. When you see a blue circle in the assembly flowchart, that means to insert and bend the tab over, whereas a green triangle means to insert and twist the tab. And here it talks about if you pull and twist, it makes a more secure connection. At the very bottom, we have the two metal sheets. I believe that's one here, and the other is here. So, slide this oven over. So you have the part numbers that point to all the different parts so you can find them. And this is an older set of directions, so there's no color coding, either that or there's just no similar parts, although, you know, a couple of wheels is very similar. We put this to the side again, slide over here. We have the start of the assembly flowchart. Starting with part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those parts coming together, and you just follow the part numbers and the arrows. You get to here, go down to the bottom half, starting this quarter, and just follow the arrows in whatever direction they decide to take you. Then jump to this quarter, keep going, more parts. Then you flip to the back. Pick up at the top quarter, follow the charts, assemble the parts, then jump over to this quarter. We follow the arrows, then down to the bottom half to this quarter. Nope, it kind of switches up on you sometimes. It can be a little fuzzy sometimes which way you're supposed to go, but pay attention, look ahead. You go through to here and you've got the finished and complete model. That looks like that's going to be a lot of fun, folding all those different pieces down onto the wheel. Oh boy. Let's talk tools. I have a pretty standard set of tools that I use in most every build. I have needle nose pliers, I have flat nose pliers, I have flush clippers. These are a must for me. They clip parts off the sheets quickly and cleanly. I have a set of precision tweezers, one with a very pointed end, one with the pointed end ground down slightly, and a flat set with a sort of curved tip, useful for twisting tabs in slightly curved areas. I also have a pretty standard set of tweezers with a flat angled end. These come in one of the Iconics kits, and I use them a lot. When it comes to shaping rounded parts, there are many options. I used dowel rods for a long time. I sharpened the ends of two of them with a pencil sharpener. These two are great for making cone shapes. Another option is a cheap drill bit set. This set has quite a few different sizes to choose from. Another option is a set of step mandrels. Another option for rounding parts, especially larger parts, is sockets. Maybe you have some sitting around already, maybe you know someone that will loan you a few, or maybe just pick up a really cheap set. Curved needle nose pliers to me are very useful for bending over longer, thin areas that have obstructions. They keep regular needle nose pliers from getting to them and being helpful. They can also be handy in tight places. We have the metal sheets. We've taken a peek at the directions, some basic tools to get us started. Let's put this together.
I had a little bit of a tough time getting this exhaust pipe curved and the tab in the slot. With only 2 tabs holding this middle part on, and those tabs being almost in line, I twisted one of them to hold the part in place, and when more of the model is together, I will come back, untwist, and fold those tabs over. Rather than bend the sides of this part all the way, depriving myself of room to reach for and twist the tabs, I bent them part way to set the crease, then finished the bend after attaching the next part. I frequently use my fingernails to bend over tabs. I once again lightly twisted the tab for now just to hold this part in place. Getting all the tabs to line up for the side will possibly take some time. Trying to keep tabs from popping back out before you secure them is also part of the fun. Now to untwist and bend over those few tabs. If you are not clear how to bend the bottom part, you can see the shape on part 26 where it attaches. I carefully used the flat nose pliers to bend a little at a time, moving out each bend to create the curve. Fitting this assembly into place seems impossible, but with enough coaxing and some bending of tabs and sides, it can be done. By the way, I missed one tab and had to coax even harder to get it back in. It would probably have been a better idea to attach the steering column to the steering wheel after feeding the column through the little hole on the tractor. Luckily, I was able to bend the other piece at the end enough so that the column fit through. This doesn't seem to fit the curve very well. I paused the camera for a phone call and forgot to unpause before starting again. I missed recording me folding up the sides of the seat and attaching it to the tractor and folding down the sides on the next part. I bent one of the tabs on the seat back at an angle so I could just hook it into place and then worry with the other tab. I twisted the one tab holding on part of the rear and it did not stay in place. I should have tried the bend and hook with it too. My 9/16 socket worked wonderfully for shaping the inner part of the rear wheel. Then I realized I was supposed to wrap this part around the center hub. I had to look carefully to figure out which outer wheel went on which side and which way to face the tread. The rear wheel I assembled first, parts 47 and 48, I put on the right side, and by right I mean the right side if you were sitting on the tractor not facing it. I took the time to fold down the sides on the larger tread before attaching the outer part of the wheel. It didn't go as well as I had hoped because I could not get a good grip on the sections, and in hindsight, I wish I had folded those sides down before attaching the inner wheel to the tractor and the outer wheel before attaching them as well. This video has been edited down. I've not shown all the different attempts, adjustments, or retries of this build. I also clip out parts where I am studying directions, searching for and clipping parts, and sometimes repetitive steps. It may make this kit look like it comes together easier than it did, but there are a lot of bending and adjusting of parts to make things fit. Work slowly, be patient, and take your time. One thing I learned is that the larger treads do not want to bend at the seam and instead want to bend inward too far. Once I started taking the time to make sure they were bending on the edge of the wheel at the seam, things fit better. And I give you the farm tractor. This was a fun build. It wasn't overly complicated. It wasn't annoying. The pieces come together fairly logically, fairly easily, a little bit of a challenge, but not too much to make it to where what am I doing? And in the end, well, with the exception of the tires, we'll get to that in a second, but in the end, it looks very nice. I'm very pleased with this model, a little more than I expected to be. Now it took about 2.5 hours to complete, and the most challenging part is getting to the end of the build to those rear wheels. And all those little, not even little, the big pieces of tread that you have to fold in and down is at least as challenging as it looks. And I kind of said this already, going back, if I had this to do again, I would at least fold the two side pieces in on each tread before attaching them to the rest of the tractor, so that once they were attached, all I would have to do is fold them down on top of the tire. And one of the big problems is where it's supposed to bend, it doesn't want to. It wants the whole thing wants to fall over, and that makes it so that the different pieces bump into each other, and it makes it a real problem. As always, Fastenation has done a good job with the amount of detail that goes into the different parts and the trim and the engine parts and belts, and there's a little bit of detail on the bottom. So as usual, that's up to par. I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.